northwestern direction of Bharatha continent, the kingdom of Gandhara was ruled by the illustrious King Subala, renowned for his unwavering adherence to Dharma, his righteous conduct, and exceptional leadership qualities. Subala was blessed with 11 daughters and 1 son. His eldest daughter, Gandhari, was celebrated for her profound devotion to Lord Shiva from a young age. She harbored an unwavering desire to behold the divine form of Lord Shiva with her own eyes. With unyielding devotion, she performed various rituals and pujas every day in her tender years. One day, Gandhari, seeking guidance from her father, expressed her ardent desire to see the divine form of Lord Shiva and inquired about the way to achieve this. Subala, acknowledging her devotion, informed her that such a vision could be attained through rigorous penance. Despite feeling deep anxiety about his daughter's arduous journey, Subala, fortified by his faith in Lord Shiva's grace, gave his consent to Gandhari's fervent wish. With stubborn determination and a heart full of devotion, Gandhari journeyed to the Himalayas and commenced her tapasya. She engaged in severe penance, seeking food and water for years. In her consciousness, there was nothing but an unwavering dedication to Lord Shiva, rendering physical needs like hunger and sleep non-existent. Moved by her steadfast devotion, Lord Shiva, in the very form Gandhari had envisioned him throughout the years, appeared before her. With a heart brimming with devotional ecstasy, she expressed her desire to have 101 children. Lord Shiva, pleased with her unwavering penance, granted her the boon, bestowing upon her the blessing of 101 children. The grand coronation ceremony of the king of Hastinapura commenced with great pomp and splendor, announcing the unparalleled prowess and strategic acumen of Pandu. The royal preceptor Kripacharya declared him as the commander-in-chief of Hastinapura's vast army. The ministers and royal preceptors expressed their approval, and Queen Mother Satyavati adorned Pandu with the crown of the commander, solidifying his position. Vichitra, renowned for his righteousness, virtuousness, and sagacity, was proclaimed the Grand Minister of Hastinapura by Kripacharya. Satyavati then adorned him with the crown of the Grand Minister, acknowledging his wisdom and integrity. Finally, the moment to coronate Dhritarashtra as king approached. As the rituals began, Grand Minister Vichitra stepped forward and voiced his objection. Citing the principles of Dharma, he declared that a person with physical impairment should never ascend the throne. This unexpected development left the assembly in astonishment. In a resolute tone, Vichitra declared that appointing a disabled person as king is against Dharma, and to uphold his oath as the Grand Minister, he could not condone such a dharma. His words ignited intense anger in Dhritarashtra, and a profound silence descended upon the assembly, filled with ministers and royal preceptors. Ambika, with fervor, argued with Vichitra, reminding him that according to Dharma, the firstborn always ascends the throne. Vichitra, responding respectfully, clarified that when all sons are equal, the firstborn becomes the king. However, when the firstborn is blind, the next in line should ascend the throne. explaining the reason for not voicing his objections earlier. Vichitra said that as a brother, he was bound by familial loyalty to support the decision of making Dhritarashtra the king. But now, as the Grand Minister, his primary duty was to uphold Dharma over personal opinions or familial ties. Satyavati found herself ensnared in a moral quandary, torn between her duty and the tenets of Dharma. She realized that insisting on making Dhritarashtra the king would mean endorsing an act of adharma as the queen mother. She accepted the inevitable truth that crowning Pandu as king was the only path forward. As Dhritarashtra's dreams of royal authority shattered, he burned with humiliation and anger, believing this to be a conspiracy hatched by Vichitra and Pandu. With these thoughts tormenting his mind, he stormed out of the assembly. On the other hand, Pandu, who had never desired the throne, was filled with profound sorrow. The notion that Dhritarashtra suspected him of politicking for the throne only deepened his regret, knowing this incident had widened the irreparable rift between them. Unable to reject the elder's decision and to uphold the principles of Dharma, Pandu reluctantly accepted his duty. The halted coronation ceremony resumed, with Kripacharya proclaiming Pandu as the king of Hastinapura. Satyavati adorned him with the royal crown. After a flurry of unseen political maneuvers and secret dealings, the kingdom was shrouded in uncertainty until the very last moment about who would ascend the throne. Despite Ambika's manipulations aimed at swaying Satyavati, and Bhishma's clandestine conspiring with Vichitra against the Queen Mother's decision, the final outcome remained unpredictable. In the end, it was Pandu who ascended the throne, marking the conclusion of a turbulent and suspenseful succession saga. Ambika and Ambalika watched with mixed emotions as Pandu ascended the throne. King Pandu vowed to perform his duties with purity of heart and in adherence to Dharma. In the snow-clad Himalayas, as the evening twilight descended, 3 young sages trudged forward with their tired bodies. They were on a quest, under their guru Agniveshya's orders, to find the rare Samarosa herbs, which could only be found in the Himalayan regions. The distant howls of wolves echoed in their ears, a harbinger of impending danger. In a bid to ward off the approaching menace, they dashed into the forest, seeking to light a fire. However, due to the pervasive snow, they found no dry wood to ignite. As the wolf howls grew closer, their hearts pounded with fear. They gathered some wood from the surrounding trees and tried to create fire by rubbing the sticks together. Despite their efforts, the dampness thwarted their attempts. Initially, the howls had come from one direction, but now they echoed from all sides, making the sages realize that the wolves had surrounded them. Terror gripped their spines as they saw the gleaming eyes of the wolves in the rapidly darkening forest. The sight of those eyes sent chills down their spines, and they frantically continued their futile attempts to produce fire by rubbing the sticks. Realizing that igniting the wood was impossible, they were paralyzed with fear. Though their bows and arrows were within reach, terror prevented them from considering an attack. They resigned themselves to what they believed were their final moments. Slowly, the wolves emerged from the darkness, their fierce eyes and sharp teeth glistening. The sages could almost feel the impending pain of those fangs tearing into their flesh. Just as despair was about to engulf them, a fiery arrow sliced through the air and landed on the wood they had arranged, instantly igniting a blazing fire. The sudden flames startled the wolves, causing them to flee into the darkness. Astonished, The sages looked towards the direction from which the fiery arrow had come. There, standing heroically atop a tree with a charming smile, was a solitary figure with his bow poised. It was their friend Drona, who had been separated from their group earlier. Recognizing their friend, the sages felt a profound sense of relief. Drona descended from the tree and showed them the somarasa herbs he had already collected. The sages, overjoyed, expressed their heartfelt gratitude to Drona for saving their life. Drona graciously accepted their thanks with a friendly demeanor. With their mission accomplished, the following morning, they began their return journey to Agniveshya's ashram. After Drupada left the ashram, Drona immersed himself deeply in the study of the Vedas and Upanishads, dedicating himself as an eternal student, constantly seeking knowledge. His insatiable quest for wisdom eventually led him to the esteemed ashram of Agniveshya, where Drona mastered the powerful secrets of the Agnayastra under the revered sage's guidance. During this period, Drona married Kripi, the sister of the sage Kripacharya. Until then, Drona had lived a life free of material desires, finding joy and fulfillment in his spiritual and scholarly pursuits. However, with the arrival of his wife, the harsh realities of financial insufficiency began to weigh heavily on him. Despite his deep contentment with Vedic knowledge, the responsibility of providing for his family became paramount. Hearing that the legendary warrior and divine incarnation Parashurama was generously bestowing donations upon those in need, Drona, who had never sought help even in the most trying times, felt compelled to request at least one cow from Parashurama to sustain his family. With eager anticipation, Drona traveled to Parashurama's ashram. Upon arrival, he was mesmerized by the incarnation of Lord Vishnu himself, the divine presence of Parashurama. The radiant aura emanating from Parashurama left Drona awestruck. Without any formal introduction, Drona instinctively recognized the divine essence of Parashurama. Drona approached Parashurama with deep reverence, respectfully bowing before him. He explained his dire situation, humbly requesting that even a single cow would greatly aid him and his wife in their survival. Parashurama, having already given away all his possessions, did not wish to send Drona away empty-handed. He informed Drona that he had nothing left to give except his own physical body, his weapons, and his extensive knowledge of divine supernatural weapons, and offered Drona the choice of any of these. Drona, possessing a profound appreciation for knowledge, immediately grasped the immense significance of Parashurama's offer. Overwhelmed with joy, he realized that a king who rules the land is molded by his guru. A righteous king ensures the prosperity of his kingdom, allied relationship with his neighboring territories, and ultimately establishes peace and prosperity in the entire earth. Conversely, wicked rulers bring turmoil and devastation. A guru, through imparting knowledge and wisdom, shapes the character of the king, and thus holds the power to determine the fate of the earth. Drona, who had come seeking a cow to support his family, found himself being offered the incredible opportunity to shape the future of the world. He enthusiastically accepted Parashurama's proposition, recognizing it as an unparalleled blessing. Drona chose to receive Parashurama's knowledge of astras, joining him as a disciple. Under Parashurama's tutelage, Drona embarked on a journey of training and enlightenment, embracing his new role with fervor and dedication.